Today we're going to show you how to make one of our quick and easy favorite camp meals. Picture this. You've been out exploring new territory all day. You get back to camp, everyone is ravenous. You don't want to spend hours cooking and then washing dishes. Frontier Chowder is the perfect hearty campfire meal, and we like to serve it over cornbread. As an aside, Frontier Chowder gets its name from frontier men and women like Daniel Boone or Annie Bailey, who lived in the unsettled wilderness. Although I'm not quite sure why, because I'm pretty sure canned soup was not readily available to frontier's men and women. The ingredients are very simple. You need a pound of ground beef, a can of tomato soup, a can of bean with bacon soup, a can of diced tomatoes, a can of corn, a dash of salt and pepper, and about a teaspoon of chili powder. First, you fry up a pound of hamburger in a large soup pot. So I'm going to add in the tomato soup first. Oh my gosh. And I'm not draining my hamburger because we buy really lean ground beef and you don't need to, there's nothing in there to drain. Next, I'm adding the bean with bacon soup. I also add a soup can of water. Stir that up. Next, I add in a can of diced tomatoes and a can of corn. Then the dash of salt and pepper and the teaspoon of chili powder. If you like it spicier, you could add in the hot Mexican chili powder or some cayenne pepper. Now that that's well stirred, I'm going to simmer it at least 10 to 15 minutes. While the chowder's simmering, Mark's going to make some cornbread in the reflector oven. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to use a box of Jiffy cornbread mix, but I'll give you a recipe for sweet cornbread in the video description. Cornbread can be traced back to Native Americans. They ground corn into meal, added water and fat, cooked on a rock or a clay tablet in the fire. Interestingly, I also read that early settlers made hoe cakes out of taking cornbread batter and putting it on the blade of a hoe and sticking it in or near the fire. I later read that there was conflicting information that a hoe was actually a skillet.
Okay, like Mary said, we're going to be cooking our cornbread in our trusty reflector oven. Now, to use a reflector oven, for those of you who don't know, we don't really need a really hot fire. What we need is flames, because it's that radiant heat from the flames that reflects back, and that's what cooks the bread.
That's it. Easy peasy. Now you've got a quick meal to quiet the hungry masses, or a family of 4. As an aside, Annie Bailey, who's at least, while the cornbread's simmering, Mark's gonna make the cornbread's simmering. For simplicity's sake, I'm just going to use a box of they ground corn. Interestingly, I also read that hoe cakes were made by easy peasy. No. If this is your first time watching one of our videos and you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to ring the bell if you want to be notified.